Hi, I'm Terry and I teach yoga here at Gunnersbury Park. This is for the Mindful Mondays series. We're going to do this every Monday for the next 6 weeks. So you don't need anything for this. You can do this on the kitchen floor. You can do it on a towel. You don't need any equipment. But if you have a yoga block, that might come in handy if you've got tight hamstrings. So we're going to start the class in child's pose. If you take your knees out nice and wide, bring your big toes together and then just start to walk your arms forward as far as they'll go. See if you can bring your head down onto the floor. But if that doesn't happen, if this is the first bit of exercise you've done this morning, you could bring your head down onto a block. You could sit on a block. Just the primary invitation is to get comfortable. So you don't need to try and meditate, you don't need to try and do anything at all. You're just coming into your body and noticing your breath. And we're going to breathe in roughly to a count of 4. And we're exhaling to a count of 4. Let's inhale through the nose. And let's exhale through the mouth. Inhaling through the nose, let it circulate, get it all off your chest, and then exhaling through the mouth. Keep reaching your arms as far forward as possible and let your chest and your armpits come down towards the floor. If you haven't got a lot of space, if you feel like you're a bit stuck, you might start to take your arms out to the side a little bit, but keep your arms active and keep exhaling down into the floor. So one more breath like that. And then from your child's pose, we're going to twist. So maybe if you lift up a little bit, you're going to take your left arm underneath your right elbow and see if you can bring your cheek or your ear down onto the floor. Okay, this feels really, really awkward, particularly first thing in the morning. So you might bring your head onto a block. Those of you that are a bit warmer, you might keep creeping your fingers further through and take this right hand over to the left-hand side of the mat. So it's a nice awkward twist through the thoracic spine. Inhaling through the nose, and you can close your mouth now and exhale through the nose. Good, and then making your way back to the middle. So stretch your arms back out, come to a central child's pose first. And then go the other way. So right arm goes underneath your left arm and you bring your cheek down to the floor. One side is always easier. And maybe if you're a bit more on this side, you take your left fingers over to the right hand side of the mat and hold it there for 3, for 2, and for 1. And then make your way all the way back to your child's pose. Walk your hands in and come up onto your hands and knees. So you're lining up your wrists underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. Keep your toes tucked under for control. Breathing in, drop the belly down, lift the crown of the head and the tailbone up, looking up towards the ceiling, and then exhaling to arch the back. Look back in between your legs, suck your belly up into your rib cage. Inhale to drop the belly down, looking up. Exhale, arching the back, pushing your hands and your knees down into the floor. Do that one more time. So inhaling to drop the belly, chest moves in between your shoulders, and then you exhale to arch the back. Come back to your neutral spine, and we're going to do a bit of wrist therapy. So if you just kind of turn your hands inside out, make lots and lots of different shapes with your wrist, and you start to feel how tense, like if you think about holding your phone, if you think about the way that you carry your handbag or anything, all the stuff that we do, it kind of gives us a bit of an iPhone claw. So we need to stretch out the palms of the hands and the backs of the hands as much as possible. You're going to turn your hands to face backwards, your fingers to point backwards towards your knees. Spread your fingers out as much as possible, and then inhaling, keep your shoulders above your wrists. Exhale, see if you can bring your bum down towards your heels. Inhaling, shoulders above your wrists. Exhale, bum down to your heels. One more like that. So inhaling, shoulders above wrists. Exhale, bum comes down to your heels. And you can keep going with that if you want to. Those of you that want a bit more, you could perhaps start to walk your feet to the back of the mat and come into what I would call a reverse plank. And I always really panic. I can feel my elbows starting to buckle when I do this, but I'm going to keep breathing through it. Maybe 2 more here. You can drop your knees down at any point. And then you're going to turn your hands to face the right way. So we're in our normal plank now. And I want you to charge your legs up as much as you possibly can. Think about tucking your tailbone under. Think about sucking in your ribs, the floating ribs at the bottom. Everything on the underside of the body needs to lift up. And if you push down into the floor, you can feel your shoulder blades starting to move apart. You're doming your upper back. Okay, so from here, side plank. If you roll over to the outside edge of your left foot, reach your right arm up to the sky. You can make this harder by stacking one foot on top of the other. You can make it easier by bringing your left knee down onto the floor. So 2 more breaths here. Keep digging your fingertips down into the mat and then swapping sides. So nice and slowly, you come over to the right hand side, roll over to the outside edge of your right foot, and then lift your left arm up. Make it harder by stacking your feet. Make it easier by dropping your knee down onto the floor if you want to. So 1 more breath here. And then we're going to make it even harder. Come down onto your left forearm, roll over to the outside edge of your left foot, reach your right arm up to the sky, and again you can drop a knee if you want to. Try and keep your head in line with your spine. Notice if you're letting everything dangle, it doesn't really matter, but it's harder to keep your head up. And then you're going to go to the other side. Right forearm comes down, roll over to the outside edge of your right foot, reach your left arm up into the sky. You should feel quite nice and sweaty at this point. You've got 1 more breath. And then bring both elbows down onto the floor and you're in your forearm plank. Keep pushing back into your heels. Keep charging up your legs and unclench your teeth. So poker face, okay? 3, 2, and 1. Now interlace your fingers, make a fist, push your whole length of forearm down into the mat, and then you're going to see if you can walk your feet in for a quick dolphin pose. Walk your feet in as close to your elbows as possible and hold it for 3, hold it for 2, hold it for 1. Well done, everyone. Drop your knees down onto the floor and then just come and sit on your knees and come and sit on your heels. If you want to make this a bit more interesting, you keep your toes tucked under, and that's going to start to open up the soles of the feet. If it's impossible to do that, just sit down with your feet nice and flat, okay? So hands are on your shoulders, like this. Keep your elbows up. As you breathe in, you're going to twist to the left. As you breathe out, you're going to twist to the right. So inhaling left, exhaling right, inhale left, exhale right. We're going to go faster. So inhale left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. And you're pumping all of the clips out of your spine, out of your lungs. Keep going. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then come back to the center. Arms reach out into a cross. On your out breath, you're going to bring your right arm underneath your left. See if you can grab your wrist with your hand and make a fist. So I'll do it from the side so you can see what I'm doing. Inhale to lift your elbows up, punch the ceiling. Exhale, draw your elbows right into your belly and round your back. Inhale, lift your elbows up. Exhale, elbows come down into your belly. Let's do that 3 more times. Inhale, lift up. Maybe you're punching the wall behind you now. Exhale, elbows into your belly. You're cutting off all of the blood in your arms, so you should feel like a bit of bone and a bit of bristle. Do it 1 more time. And then on your last breath, you're going to keep your elbows in your belly. Really sort of lengthen the back of your neck and then look to the right, look to the left, look to the right and the left, right and the left, and then come back to the center, lift your elbows up, open out your arms into a cross so you feel loads of fresh blood in your fingers, and then left arm goes underneath the right arm, grab your wrist and make a fist. So inhaling, lift your elbows up, exhale, draw them down into your belly. Keep it going. So inhale to lift up, maybe you can drop your head back. Exhale, bring them in to your belly. 3 more times. Inhale, lift. Exhale. Inhaling. Exhaling. And then you do it 1 more time. Exhaling. Open your arms out to a cross. Just wiggle your fingers. Hands on the floor. Lift your hips. Push back into your downward facing dog. Okay, so hands are about shoulder distance. Feet are about hip distance apart at the back of the mat, and you can pedal out your legs from left to right. You can shake your head, you can nod your head, you can flubber your lips to release any tension that's in the face. Good, and then you're going to start to walk your feet up to the top of the mat, and that's really hard. If you've got tight hamstrings, then you're going to need to bend your knees to make as much space as possible. When your feet come up to the top of the mat, land them at about hip distance apart, and you're going to interlace your hands behind your back, make a fist. See if you can straighten your elbows, okay? See if you can bring a bit more weight into your toes rather than in your heels, and let your head hang down over your legs. Good, and then keeping your hands up in the air, you're going to straighten your right leg, keep your left knee bent, and start to steer your shoulders round to the right, looking over your right shoulder. Good, and then swapping sides, so right knee bent, looking over your left shoulder, left leg is completely straight. And then come back to that first side, bend your left knee, look over your right shoulder. And then last side, bend your right knee, looking over your left shoulder. So your arms are probably pretty numb at this point. You can bring them back down by your sides if you want to. Let your head hang down. If your arms feel okay, you're going to roll yourself all the way back up with your hands behind your back, bend your knees as you roll all the way up the spine, and then drop your hands down by your sides. And we'll do one sun salute, and then we'll get into the flow. So big toes together, hands facing forward, inhaling to reach the arms all the way up to the sky. Exhale, bend your knees, bring your hands down to the floor. Inhaling, halfway lift, looking forward. Exhale, hands down, step back to your plank pose. You can drop your knees down if you want, or you can do it with your knees up. But remember to switch your legs on. Inhaling first. Exhale, elbows bend. Inhale, lift your chest, cobra pose. Exhale, push back to your downward facing dog and stay there. Take 5 deep breaths in your downward facing dog, but stay completely still. Find a gazing point in between your feet as you're looking back, and just let everything start to slow down in your downward facing dog. For 2 and 1. Push your heels down, bend your knees, look forward, make your way up to the top of the mat. Inhaling, halfway lift. Exhale, come down to your forward fold. Inhale, open arms, reach all the way up to the top. Exhale, float your arms back down by your sides. Breathing in, arms reach all the way up to the top. You're going to lift your left knee, your right knee, lift your right knee up as high as you possibly can. Point your toes down towards the floor, inhaling here. Exhale, twist to the right hand side. Look over your right shoulder. So I'm going to use my hand to lift my knee up as high as I can. Push your left foot down into the floor for 2 and for 1. And then reach your arms back up to the sky. Your right leg is going to stay up. See if you can extend it out in front of you for 5 breaths. It's going to shake. Okay, let it shake. It's okay. For 3, For 2, lift it up, use your belly strength for 1, and then rebend that knee. Take your leg back behind you into your warrior 3 pose. I'm going to do my arms alongside my body so that my chest stays lifted. Straight fingers, my legs are shaking like crazy for 2. And for 1, low lunge. Toes come down onto the floor. Drop your right knee down onto the floor. Start to sink down into your hips and then reach your arms up to the sky. 5 breaths with really straight fingers. See if you can bring your upper arms back beyond your ears. Lift your chest, lift your chin for 2. And for 1, hands come down onto the floor, shift your hips back into half split pose. So your hips need to be pretty much above your knee. This left leg needs to be straight. If you've got tight hamstrings, you might bring your hands up onto blocks. It doesn't matter. Keep sucking your belly in as much as you can. Okay, breathing in to lengthen the spine. Breathing out to close the gap between your belly and your thigh for 2. For 1, and then hands on the floor, tuck your toes, lift your hips, sweep your left leg all the way up and out to your 3-legged dog. Make your way forward into a plank, 3-legged or 2-legged or with knees down. Inhaling first, exhale, elbows bend. Inhale to your back bend, exhale, take it back to your downward facing dog. Come straight into a plank pose, breathe in. Breathe out, come all the way down onto your belly. Interlace your hands behind your back, make a fist. On your inhale, you're going to see if you can lift your chest up, straighten your arms, straighten your elbows. See if you can bring your knuckles away from your lower back, and if it's all going well, see if you can lift your legs up as well. For 3, for 2, it's really hard to breathe, it's really hard to talk. For 2, for 1, and then hands come down onto the floor, downward facing dog, and you can breathe there. Remember to let your head just dangle down, okay? See if you can bring your chest a bit closer to your thighs and keep pushing your heels down into the floor. Good, okay, so bending your knees, looking forward, step or jump to the top of the mat, inhaling halfway lift. Exhale, come down to your forward fold. Inhale, open arms, reach all the way up to the top. Exhale, float your arms back through the middle. Inhaling to open arms, you're going to lift your left knee up as high as it will possibly go. Point your toes down towards the floor. Take a big in breath, and then as you breathe out, you twist to the left. See if you can challenge your balance by looking over your left shoulder. You can use your hands to hold your knee up, it's okay. You should be pushing your right foot down into the floor as much as possible. For 3, for 2, for 1, and then you reach your arms back up to the sky. Extend your left leg out in front of you and see if you can hold it. Notice the difference between the 2 sides. You've got 3 breaths here. Suck your belly in, lift your pelvic floor. You should be gathering up your belly as much as possible. For 1, and then rebend that knee, send it back to your warrior 3 pose. Arms alongside the body. Don't worry if it's wobbling. Like your foot, even if you've been doing yoga for a million years, your foot is always going to make loads of tiny little movements. You just learn to sort of override it with your brain. For 2. For 1, and then foot comes down to the floor, drop your left knee down onto the floor, arms come straight up into your low lunge, hold it there. Poker face, chin up, really straight arms, reaching it out through your fingernails. For 2. For 1, half splits, hands come down, shift your hips back. Right leg is completely straight, suck your belly up into the rib cage and start to bow down. Remember, you can use a block if you want to, okay? 2 and 1. Hands on the floor. Reach your right leg all the way up and out to your 3-legged dog. Come forward into a plank, your version of a plank with knees down or up. Inhaling. Exhale, elbows bend. Inhale to your back bend. Exhale back to your downward facing dog. And you stay there. Take 5 deep breaths in downward facing dog. If you want it to be a little bit stronger, you can walk your hands towards each other. Thumbs touch in the center line of the mat. Inhaling first. Exhale, bend your elbows down, but don't let them touch the floor. This is turbo dog. You're going to hover your elbows about 1 inch above the floor. Keep lifting your bum up for 3, for 2, and for 1. Now push straight back to your downward facing dog. Bend your knees, look forward, step or jump to the top of the mat. Inhaling halfway left. Exhale, come down to your forward fold. Inhale, open arms, reach all the way up to the top. Exhale, float your arms back through the middle. Very nice. Inhale to open arms. Exhale to forward fold. You're going to loop your first 2 fingers around your big toes. Feet are hip distance apart. Start to bend your elbows out to the side. Let your head just dangle down. So as you breathe in, you're lengthening the crown of the head down towards the floor. As you breathe out, you're bringing your belly a little bit closer to your thighs. So it's millimeters, small adjustments, okay? Inhaling and exhaling, and then release the grip. Bend your knees. You're going to sweep your arms all the way back up to the sky. Lift your right knee up as high as it will possibly go. Exhale, twist to the right hand side. So this time you can hold on to your knee. Those of you that want to go a bit further, you can grab the outside edge of your foot and see if you can extend it like this. So your left leg should still be wobbling, that's okay. Keep pushing your heel down into the floor for 3, for 2, for 1, and you're going to let that leg go now. Reach your arms back up to the sky. You've got 5 breaths here. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Warrior 3. So you could bend the knee first, or you can suck your leg right back into its socket and see if you can take it back straight behind you. I'm going to keep my arms straight out in front of me this time, because it's stronger on the core. 5 breaths. 4. Keep reaching, feet and hands in opposition. 2 and 1. Toes come down, knee comes down, low lunge, arms reach up to the sky. Interlace your fingers, release just the index fingers, so you've got a Charlie's Angel hand, and start to wiggle back out over your shoulders. So this is a bit messy, this bit. And then when you've had enough, you just lift your chest. Keep sucking up your pelvic floor, keep pulling your belly button in for 3, for 2, and 1. Hands come down to the floor. Shift your hips back into half splits pose again. Suck your belly right in, okay? You can stay here, or you can make it a bit stronger. See if you can do forward facing triangle. Tuck your toes at the back, lift your hips, and see if you can do it with 2 straight legs. Like this. I'm going to keep my left heel flexed, left ankle flexed. 3, 2, and 1. Hands on the floor. Lift your left leg all the way up and out to your 3-legged dog, and then make your way through your vinyasa, and we will meet back in downward facing dog and hold it there. Come straight into plank. Inhaling plank. Exhale, come down onto your belly. Interlace your hands behind your back. On your inhale, you're going to peel your chest up. See if you can keep reaching knuckles away from your lower back, and then maybe lift your legs up as well. For 3, for 2, for 1, and then come all the way back down to the floor. Hands underneath your shoulders. Lift your hips, downward facing dog, and breathe. Good. Inhaling and exhaling. One more. Inhaling and exhaling. Bend your knees, look forward, step or jump to the top of the mat. Inhaling, come up halfway. Exhale, come down to your forward fold. Inhale, open arms, reach all the way up to the top. Lift your left knee up as high as you can get it. Suck your belly in, breathe out, twist to the left hand side this time. You can either hold your knee, but if you want more, you're going to grab the outside edge of the foot, kick the foot into your hand and hold it there. So 3 more breaths, just like this, and you can challenge your balance by looking over your shoulder. 2. For 1, arms reach back up to the sky, hold your leg in the air. I'm leaning backwards, but that's kind of cheating. You need to keep your shoulders above your hips as much as possible. For 2 more breaths. For 1, and then send that leg way back behind you into your warrior 3. Arms keep reaching forward. Keep reaching like opposing forces. Imagine somebody's pulling you forward by the wrists and somebody's pulling you backwards by the ankles. For 2. For 1, and then toes come down, drop your left knee down, arms reach up to the sky, low lunge. Again, interlace your fingers, releasing just the index fingers. Start to wriggle out of your shoulders. And then start to lift your chest. Maybe you can drop your head back for 3, for 2, and 1. Hands come down onto the floor. Shift your hips back into half splits. Notice the difference between doing it now, doing it 10 minutes ago. You can stay here. You can tuck your toes, lift your hips, and you are in a forward-facing triangle. 2, and 1. Hands are flat on the floor. Reach your right leg all the way up and out to your 3-legged dog. Make your way through your vinyasa, and we will meet back in downward facing dog and hold it there. Okay. So option 1, you hold your downward facing dog. You can come into child's pose if you need a rest, or you can come into your dolphin pose again, walking your hands towards the middle, thumbs touch, breathing in, breathing out, elbows come down onto the mat. Make a fist with your hands, push the whole length of your forearms down into the mat and then walk your feet in. Walk your feet in, keep walking your feet in. I'm not going to do it because it's too hard to talk, but you've got 3 more breaths. 2, and 1. Push yourself back up to your downward facing dog and breathe. Good. So your feet are going to stay exactly where they are. You're going to walk your hands backwards, 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 backwards. And now we're standing at the back of the mat. Loop your fingers around your big toes again. Bend your elbows out to the side. See if you can get a little bit closer to your thighs this time. 3 more breaths. Push your toes down into the floor. Lift your bum up. Spread the backs of the legs. Last breath. And then soften your knees. You're going to roll yourself up to your standing position. Feet hip distance apart. Bring your hands onto your hips and then shift all of the weight over into your left leg. Lift your right knee up as high as you possibly can. See if you can put your foot in your tree pose without using your hands. I'm not sure I can. Maybe I'm going to use my hands to put my foot where it needs to go. That's it. And then bring your hands into prayer, pushing your left foot down into the floor, breathing all the way up to the crown of the head. You've got 2 more breaths. Press your palms together. And 1. Good. And then swapping sides. So right foot comes down onto the floor. You shift all of the weight over to the right foot. Lift your left knee up as high as it will go. See if you can put your foot there without using your hands. And then bring your hands into prayer. Push your palms together. Breathing all the way up to the crown of the head. Breathing all the way down into the soles of the feet. 1 more. That's it. And then let that foot come back down to the floor. You're going to bring your hands down onto the mat. Walk yourself through your downward facing dog. And then come into a seated position. Extend your legs out in front of you. Pull the fleshy parts out from underneath your sitting bones so that your pelvis tilts forward. And if you have trouble, actually, if you find it difficult to reach your feet, what you can do is you can sit on a block or on a pillow and let yourself kind of fall off the side so that you can like properly feel your pelvic bowl kind of coming forward. So arms reach up to the sky as you breathe in. As you breathe out, you're going to go for the outside edges of your feet, kicking into your heels. So 5 breaths here. You're coming out of your lower back. Okay, so don't worry too much if your knees are bent. It's more in your lower back. So use a bit of arm strength. 2 more breaths. 1, and then you're going to change the grip. So if you're holding the outside edges of your feet, maybe you go for your big toes. Maybe you put a block on the end of your feet, or you go through your wrists. So 5 more breaths here. 3, 2, and 1. And then make your way back up to your seated position. Get rid of the block if you're using the block. Bring the soles of the feet flat onto the floor, and I want you to close your eyes here, okay? Slowly roll yourself down onto your back. Bring your knees into your chest. Wrap your forearms around your knees and just roll from side to side to side. So it's like you're burrowing down into the floor. And when you've had enough, bring the soles of the feet flat onto the mat. Walk them out to the far corners. Bring your arms alongside your body. Turn your palms to face up. Let your eyes close if they're not closed already. Remember, we're not trying to meditate. We don't need to do anything with our breath. We're just observing what's going on in the body. Letting all of that process. Relaxing the feet. And softening the heels and the calves and the backs of the knees. Thighs and the pelvis. The hip bones. And the lower back. The middle back. And the upper back. The shoulders. The elbows, the wrists, and the hands, the fingers, fingertips. And chest, the throat, and the chin. The hinge of the jaw. The root of the tongue. The tip of the tongue. The roof of the mouth. All around the eyes, forehead, the hair in the scalp, the back of the head, and the crown of the head. If you've got time to stay on the floor a little bit longer, then please do. But otherwise, if it's time to go back to work now, start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Thinking about the crown of your head being the axis that you're turning around. If you take your head from right to left, from right to left, and then come back to the middle, make your way into a big full body stretch. So pointing the toes, opening and closing the hands. Bring your knees into your chest, wrap your forearms around your knees for the last time, roll from side to side to side, and when you've had enough, you rock it out to the right hand side, push yourself back up to your seated position. Keep your eyes closed for the last couple of seconds, sit nice and tall, bow the heads, you can open your eyes, namaste. Thank you very much, everyone. Well done. See you next time. Bye-bye.